Hello IP3, I'm Teacher Joe and this is week 6 of our English Summer 2020 review class. So last week we started English chapter 3, verbs, and we were talking about present tense verbs. This week we are going to be talking about past tense and future tense verbs. So let's get started. Okay, so English chapter 3, verbs, lesson 2, past and future tense verbs. So, you should already remember that verbs show what something does or what something is. And as we learned last week, the tense a verb is written in tells us when something happens. We use past tense verbs to describe something that has already happened. So at some point before now, we use a past tense verb to explain something that's already happened. So usually making past tense verbs is pretty easy. Usually all you need to do is add ed to most verbs to make them past tense. So let's look at these examples. The boy jumped up and down. The boy jumped up and down. We have the verb jump, J-U-M-P, and we just add ed to make it past tense. I watched a movie. I watched a movie. We have watch, the verb watch, W-A-T-C-H, and we add ed to make it past tense. And one more. The kids played football. We've got the verb play, P-L-A-Y. We add ed, and we know that it happened in the past, before now. We learned last week that in the present tense, we have to change the verb depending on the subject. If the subject is singular or plural, or depending on what pronoun, we had to sometimes change the verb. But in the past tense, we use the same rule every time, no matter what the subject is. We just add ed to the verb, whether the subject is singular or plural, and for all pronouns. So, the examples here, Sarah and Jane visit their grandparents. That is a present tense sentence, like we did last week. In the subject, there's two people, Sarah and Jane. So we have a plural noun in the subject. And that meant that we didn't change the verb visit. When we do that in the past tense, Sarah and Jane visited their grandparents. We just add ed to the verb visit. But when we have a singular noun in the subject, Sarah visits her grandparents. When we have the singular noun in the subject, we had to add s to the verb visit. But when we do it in past tense, it's the same as if we've got a plural noun in the subject. So you can see Sarah and Jane visited, Sarah visited her grandparents. We use the same verb no matter what the subject is like. Same with pronouns. I play football. For I, we did not need to change the verb. So I played football, we add ed to the verb play. For the pronouns he, she, and it, we had to add s to the verb. So he plays football. But in the past tense, we don't need to add s to the verb. We don't need to change the verb at all. We just add ed to make it past tense. Now, in the past tense, if a verb already ends with the letter e, you don't add ed to make it past tense. You just add the letter d. So look at the examples. I tied my shoelaces. The verb tie already ends with an e, so we just add d to make it past tense. I tied my shoelaces. Next one. Andrew and Neil smiled at their friends. The verb smile ends with an e, so we just add d to make it past tense. The man closed the door. The verb close ends with e, so again, we just add d to make it past tense. Now, if a verb ends with a consonant and y, like we've done before, we change y to I, and then we add ed to make it past tense. So, Stacy carried her books to school. The verb carry ends with the consonant R and then the letter Y. So we change this Y to an I before we add ed. Carried becomes C-A-R-R-I-E-D. Kevin and Jodie worried about the exam. Again, the verb worry ends with the consonant R and then the letter Y. So we change the Y to I, add ed, worried about the exam. The students copied the homework from the boards. The verb copy ends with consonant P, then the letter Y. So we change Y to I, add ed, copied, C-O-P-I-E-D. If a verb ends with one vowel and then one consonant, except the consonants W, X, and Y, we double the consonant and then add ed to make it past tense. So, James hugged his mum. The verb hug ends with the vowel U and then the consonant G. So we double this G to then add ed to make the verb hugged. H-U-G-G-E-D. Sandra tapped her fingers. Again, at the end, we've got one vowel, A, and one consonant, P. We double the consonant, add ed, tapped, T-A-P-P-E-D. Grandma knitted me a jumper. The verb knit, like when you make something out of material, ends with the vowel I and then the consonant T. So we double the T and we've got knitted, K-N-I-T-T-E-D. Last week we learned about the rules for writing the special verb be in the present tense. We know that the special verb be is used to tell what something is. In the past tense, we still use the special verb be, and we use the words was or were, depending on whether the noun in the subject is singular or plural, or depending on which pronoun we use. For the pronoun I, we say was, like I was 6 years old. For the pronoun you, we say were, like you were far away. For he, she, and it, we say was again. So he was outside, she was studying, it was time for bed. We also use was when we have a singular noun, so one person, place, or thing. So Amy was first in the race. We use the form were when we have the pronouns we and they. We were less smart last year, they were nice. We also use were with plural nouns, like the players were tired. So as well as present tense, which describes something that happens now, and past tense, which describes something that happens before now, we use future tense to describe something that will happen at a later time, like this afternoon, or tomorrow, or in 5 years' time. Then we use future tense. Now, we've learned a few different rules for writing in the present tense and writing in the past tense. But future tense is very, very easy. In the future tense, all we need to do is write the word will before the verb. So it doesn't matter whether the noun in the subject is singular or plural, it doesn't matter whether we have a different pronoun, and it doesn't matter how we spell the verb. All you need to do is write the word will before the verb. So, I will study before the exam. The girls will paint in the art class. Henry will nap after school. All you have to do is write the word will. And again, the forms of the special verb be in the future tense are all very, very easy. There's no different rules to learn. You just write will be. Okay, so as you can see on this table, for all of the pronouns, I, you, he, she, it, we, or they, and for singular nouns and plural nouns, you just write will be to describe what something is in the future. So, I will be 8 on my next birthday. You will be a doctor. He will be strong. She will be tired tomorrow. It will be bigger soon. The cat will be bigger than its brother. We will be in IP4 next year. They will be in a new classroom. The trees will be cut down for wood. All very easy. Just write will be. Okay, IP3, that is the end of this week's lecture. And before we go, as always, I'm going to explain your homework to you. So you should have a worksheet that says IP3, English Chapter 3, Verbs, Review Worksheet, Week 6. Now, what I want you to do in Section 1, circle the verb part in the sentences below. And then you need to identify if it is past or future tense. So when I say the verb part, remember that in the future tense, you write the word will before the verb. So that means in future tense, you've got 2 words to circle, whereas in past tense, you only have 1 word to circle. So, the boys will go to the park after school. The boys will go to the park after school. What is the verb part in that sentence? Hopefully you know that the verb part is will go. Not just go, because that doesn't tell you the tense. You need will go. And you should know that because you have the word will, that is future tense. So you'll circle will go, and then on this line write future. If you see something in the past tense, you write past. Okay, now section 2 might be a little bit more difficult for you. In this table, you have present tense, past tense, and future tense. And on each of these lines, you have one of them filled out. You need to write the other 2 forms of the verb. So here we've got the future tense will play. Will play. What is the present tense of will play? Hopefully you know, play, P-L-A-Y. You don't need to add S to these verbs, I just want their normal form. And what is past tense of play or will play? Again, should be easy, played, P-L-A-Y-E-D. So you fill the other 2 boxes on each row. Okay, IP3, that is the end of this week's lesson. And this was week 6. Which hopefully will be the end of our video review lessons. Hopefully soon we will be able to go back to school and have normal lessons in the classroom. And in case you've forgotten, I will be your English teacher in IP4. So I hope you've all understood these video lessons that we've been doing. I hope you're all excited to get back to school, and I will see you very soon. So I will see you when you are in IP4. But for now, for the last time, bye-bye IP3.